What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's the day, big day. This is the day we're getting the 1957 Autocar fired up after 15 years of slumbering. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Help the channel out, helps me grow, keep making more stuff like this for you guys. If you're not new around here, thanks for already subscribing and thanks for coming back. No matter if you're new or old around here, hit the thumbs up button for me. So as I said, we're back out here today to get this thing started. I had a huge response from the last video I put out. I never dreamed this thing, as of recording this right now, has over 370,000 views. Kind of blew me away that you guys are all dying to see this thing crank up as much as I am. So I went home after the last video, did my research, I went and dug through my manuals, and then had a lot of great feedback from you guys in the comments. So I'm feeling pretty confident today. I'm going to drain the fuel, put some fresh fuel in it, hook up some new batteries. I had the batteries connected wrong in the last video, and I think that's why she wouldn't turn over. So hopefully I didn't hurt anything. We're gonna throw some batteries at it, and hopefully we can get something to happen here. Oh. Ooh, buddy. More scrap. Now I got to do my head scratching here and figure this out. So we went from 4 6-volt batteries to 2 12-volt batteries. And I've got 2 more out in the truck if these 2 aren't enough to crank it over. Already trying to do it backwards. And I can already hear the comments now, well, these batteries aren't big enough for this. I know that. They're just batteries I had at the house. They're good batteries. I keep them around just to have for jumping stuff and doing things like this. I'm not going to go buy new batteries for this. As soon as I did that, something arced. Make sure the key's off. But anyway, I'm not going to go buy new batteries just for this, because I might get it running and it still might sit here for another few years before I restore it. So I don't want to have new batteries sitting here going to waste and taking time off their lives, just sitting here not doing anything for me. So I guess today's outcome of how good or how well it runs or doesn't run is going to determine how quickly we get moving on this project. That one tightened up. terminal posts are actually slightly tapered, so you can usually just knock them down a little bit and they're pretty snug. Okay, now the last terminal we have to connect here is heavily corroded, and there's no way that that thing is going to tighten up. So we'll just see if we can't put the pair of vice grips on here and clamp down on her. Oh yeah, it's working. Solid as a rock, eh, Marv? Everybody wanted me to put a breaker bar on it and bar the motor over by hand. I can turn it over with the fan. Not very much, but I can turn it some. I didn't mention this in the last video too. The belt is off of the generator, so the generator wouldn't turn regardless. But the reason the belt is off, I'm guessing, is because the generator appears to be seized up solid. So there's one of the first things that's going to need fixed. Other than that, I think she's pretty much ready to go. Still got to drain the fuel. Alright, we're going to drain the old fuel out of the tank here. Or at least as much as I can fit in this pan. And whatever's left in there, I'll just put some fresh fuel on top of that and should be good to go. A lot of people were really concerned about the state of the fuel since it's been sitting for so long. I know some of you know this, but there were some people that may not. Diesel fuel does not break down and get stale like gasoline does. The only two ways that diesel fuel really breaks down, or is it's going to get water in it from condensating through these tanks for 15 years, or it might have algae growing in it, which can really screw up your fuel system. So I'm going to start draining it out, and we're going to see what it looks like, and then probably make a decision from that. But these old diesels especially will run on anything. They're not too picky. If you don't believe me, go watch Zip Ties and Bias Plies. That guy's got a 7.3 IDI Ford on that channel that runs on some sort of brown gravy concoction that he calls radioactive horse something or other. And it's really amazing, but it seems to run on it fine and likes it. So that's just a testament to what these old trucks will really run on. So if this stuff even remotely resembles fuel, I know it'll run on it. And we'll get as much out as we can and then put fresh stuff in there and be good to go. I'm hoping this plug comes out easy. Or maybe I should take off the hose. I'm not sure. If this plug doesn't come out, then I can just take this hose off, but I'd rather just use the plug. Oh, she's coming. That plug might not have been out of there since 1957. We don't know. We just don't know. I know my lighting's not the greatest out here today. I put the truck under the building and now it's a little hard to see. In the words of AVE, release the shmoo. Oh yeah, that's nice and clear. Really doesn't smell that bad. Just slightly varnished. I've seen a couple bigger particles shoot out of there so far. And then if there was any water in it, the water should all be sitting on the bottom because water is heavier than oil or fuel. It's looking pretty clean. Once this pan gets about as full as I can maneuver with it, I'm probably going to stick this plug back in there and put some fresh fuel in it because I know it'll run on this stuff. It looks very clean. I've heard of diesels running on fuel that's much older than 15 years. I used to work in a scrapyard, and anything that would come in that was diesel, we'd drain all the fuel out of it and put it in our equipment, and it ran fine. I mean, you get a little bit of moisture that way, so you're changing filters more often, but free fuel pays for some filters pretty quick. And there was plenty of stuff that came into that junkyard that was been sitting for a lot longer than this truck has, and the fuel ran just fine in our equipment. Stinking line is right in the way. There we go. Yeah, this is a big pan. That's going to be really hard to move even though it's not full. It's very heavy, so I'm calling that good. That fuel looks fine to me. Just turned a little bit yellow. It doesn't smell as bad as it did when I dipped the tank in the last video. It's still got a little bit of varnish smell to it, but not very bad. This old girl will love it, I'm sure of that. And like I said, we're gonna put some fresh fuel in it too to freshen it up a bit. So I knew I was planning on draining this fuel tank today and that I'd have to get fuel back here to this thing. But I still managed to forget to bring a fuel can with me, so I found the only plastic jug I had around here. We're just gonna have to take a few trips with this thing. Two or three more of those will be in business. Okay, so you always got your naysayers on the videos saying, oh, that thing hasn't really been sitting that long. Every truck on YouTube's been sitting that long. But anyway, I just pulled this insurance card out of the glove box in there, and it expired in 03. So there you go. So everybody kept asking me what engine was in this thing. I'll throw some pictures of the ID tag up right now. This is all I know about the motor, other than the guy that I bought it from told me it was a 180 Cummins. I never was told if that was 180 horsepower or 180 cubic inch, but I have to imagine it's more than 180 cubic inch. Anyway, this lever here is the decompression lever. I called that a shutdown lever in the last video. Everybody corrected me on that, and I was wrong. That's not what it is. But after shooting the video, I realized that on my own. I followed the cable down here, and the linkage goes in here, and I said, well, that's not going to be a shutdown. A shutdown would be going to the injector pump. So I had to free this thing up, and it's still a little stiff, but should work for our purposes. So I think we're about ready to give her a go. So here comes the moment of truth, guys. I got the batteries all hooked up. I'm hoping these little batteries got enough go-go juice to crank this big girl over. I had them both charging for the last 24 hours, so they're topped off. And I do have two more on the truck, but I don't have the right cables to hook them up in parallel. So I'd have to use jumper cables, and I'm just trying to avoid all that. So hopefully these two do it, but if not, we've got a backup plan. I put the fresh fuel in it. The intake is open and clear. A lot of people asked me if I covered that up last time. I did, I just didn't show it. I didn't show uncovering it this time either. But she should be ready to go. Hopefully we can hit the key and she'll just crank right on over. So I don't have enough cameras to catch all the good angles, but I'm going to use my phone here and try. Both trannies are in neutral. Key to the on position, and I can listen to hear the solenoid on the fuel pump click. I believe I heard it. Push the clutch in so we're not trying to spin the tranny too. And here we go, boys. Well, she's trying to spin, which is a big improvement over last time. I can't hold the camera and pull the decompression lever, so y'all just gonna have to see it from the outside. but I don't know if it's quite fast enough to get this old girl to pop off after a long slumber. So I'm gonna hit it with just a little bit of go-go juice, and if that doesn't go, we're gonna go back and get the other batteries and hook them up in parallel. I'm getting real excited now. Found the can of old go-go juice in the truck there. Just gonna give it a little whiff. I don't want to give it much, just enough to make her catch. Beautiful, boys. Really didn't take much. Oh, there goes a mouse, little bastards. I haven't tried revving it at all yet. Figured I'd let it warm up a hair. We'll see. I don't think it's running on all cylinders. And the gauges, yeah, we're building air pressure. We're not gonna have any charge because of that generator. Oh, buddy, she come alive. Oh, buddy. Oh, she's clearing up now. She sounds good. Stinking excited. She's idling a little bit better now too. Oh. Well, I come out here where you might be able to hear me a little bit better, but so she's running now. She's still running a little bit rough, but not bad. I think probably just got some dirty injectors, and some more fresh fuel will probably help. But the longer it runs, the smoother it should get in theory. At least that's the way things normally work for me. I mentioned in the last video that the rear end is stuck on it. I think the brakes are just rusted to the drums. So what I'm gonna do is let it warm up for a little while yet, and then I'm gonna get in there and just kind of ease it back and forth and try and hope that the brakes pop loose. A lot of people were telling me, oh, it needs air pressure. Trucks this old didn't have safety spring brakes, so if you didn't have air back then, you didn't have brakes. That's why you used to see so many runaway truck ramps and rigs flipped over on the side of the highway back in the 50s, 60s. I'm not sure what year they came out with the spring brakes, but definitely a big safety feature, and if I can make them work on this truck after I restore it, they're gonna get safety brakes. So like I said, I'm gonna let it run a couple minutes yet, and then I'm gonna start trying to ease it forward and reverse, and sorry if the brakes will pop loose. I'll turn the camera back on when I do that. Poor lighting, I know. All right, I'm looking at my gear pattern up here. I'm gonna put the primary in reverse and the auxiliary in low, and just ease it between first and reverse on the primary and see if we can't get the brakes to pop loose. It just broke loose. I can't get the auxiliary into direct drive, and you can't get the primary into reverse with the auxiliary in low. I don't know why, but the sticks hit each other. Everything needs a little bit of PB blaster yet. Tried to open the door from the inside. I can't get it. Ruh-roh. Well, it's been running for probably half an hour now. I think that's good enough for a first run. Now I'm going to see if I can shut it off. Just using the key. Hopefully everything's still hooked up to shut it off with the key. Well, it takes a second, but it sure does work. You can hear all the air leaks in here now. Oh, man. She's kind of loud. What is that? That seems to be a tractor control, or trailer control valve leaking that bad. The air pressure gauge does work. I was sitting here looking at it. I couldn't tell if it works, but sitting here now pulling the horn, I can see the gauges working, so that's good. So the first start wasn't too bad. Let's see how she restarts with no ether. I did use a little squirt of ether there to get it going for the first time. No ether this time. We'll see how she starts. Plus it's warm now. So I'm really happy with that for the first start and run in 15 years. The guy didn't lie to me. If you haven't seen part 1 of the AUTOCAR series, the link's in the description for the playlist. This will make the 4th video in that playlist. So go back and check those previous videos out if you haven't already. I am going to recap a little bit of the history. I bought this truck like 9-10 months ago off a guy over in Easton, Maryland. And I decided I wanted one of these trucks because my grandfather used to drive one just like this. And I grew up seeing pictures of him in this truck back in the day. And I never met my grandfather, but I always thought it was a cool looking truck. I mean, this thing, compared to most trucks, especially today, this thing looks tough. So I really just fell in love with this truck. And I've always wanted one. And it took me about 6-7 years of looking to really find one. And when I did, it was over in Easton, Maryland, like I said. I just saw the pictures online and they weren't the best pictures, but the guy seemed like a nice old guy, and he sold it to me at a fair price, and I got it hauled over here. And I haven't really had time to work on it since I got it. The last 2 videos have been the only work I've done to this thing, so I'm really happy today to get this thing fired up, especially in the rear end broke loose real easy. I mean, it just took a little bit of pressure between reverse and first, and she popped right loose. I can't get it to move because it's just sitting on some mud. You know, there's no weight in the rear end. It's not really gonna get up and go too easy. It'd probably drive forward if I moved the dozer, but then I just have to push it back because it won't back up. But long term for this truck, I want to restore it. Now, maybe not a museum quality restoration, but I would like to have it to where it's usable. I bought that lowboy trailer to go behind it. I want to be able to just jump in this truck, throw a piece of equipment on the back, and take it down the road. I mean, I don't know how fast it's really going to go on the highway. Probably not that fast, but you know, when you're driving this thing, it ain't about speed, it's about style. If I was looking for something to daily drive, hauling equipment, I'd have bought something else, but this is just a cool project for me. I don't know how quick I'm really going to get on to restoring it. As you can see, my shop isn't really done yet, and I'm not going to sink too much money into making this a real shop, because if you watch part 1 of my shop video series, I'm going to build a bigger shop over here with, you know, real concrete floors and all that stuff. This is actually just going to be an equipment shed long term, but until I have another shop, this is definitely the place to work. At least you got a roof over your head here. And so anyway, yeah, I'm going to do a restoration on this thing and get it back to good working original condition. Probably keep the motor if it's a good keeper. I'm going to go through it a little bit as I do this and see what kind of shape it's actually in. The odometer says I got 117,000 miles on the truck. Who knows if that's accurate? You know, at this age, it really doesn't matter. Well, guys, I think that's the end of this video. I'm more than happy with my AUTOCAR, and I know I'm going to make a lot of you guys happy. I've been having people pester the crap out of me to get this thing going, and trust me, nobody wanted to see it run more than I did. So I'm happy. Hope you guys are happy. If you are, hit that thumbs up button for me, and if you're new around here or not subscribed already, hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you a thing, and it helps grow my channel. So hope you guys like it, and I'll catch you on the next video.